I think what happened is I was lagging and I changed the video settings and it made it crash.
Oh,
Yep.
that could be it. Like on
It's
a. Oh, I don't follow you? Oh, my bad.
uh,
It's so hard to keep.
GM Fomoverse Radio. This is your show host Austin Hamilton. This is the second attempt with Nahiko after a successful hack on my computer. So don't push his buttons, guys, because he will mess with you. Nahiko, welcome on the show.
Yeah, thank you again. Hopefully this time we're back for good. Let's see.
I won't adjust my video settings while we're running live, so we'll just roll with it.
All right. Okay, so yeah, we were at a presentation. So basically, my name is Nahiko. I'm in the NFT space since 2020, and basically, I entered the space because there wasn't a space, to be honest, at the time. Like, I'm not an OG, but there was just like people doing stuff, but there was no like kind of right now there's kind of a structure with influences and whatever. Like this didn't exist at the time anyway. And it just felt right because I love coding, and NFTs were like, I've always tried to merge art and science in general. And when I saw NFTs, it just felt it was like the digitally native aspect of it that it just made me want to look deeper. And I started minting just regular images, probably like everyone, testing out the technology, seeing how it works. And then I started reading contracts, understanding how they work, understanding how platforms were integrating the smart contracts inside their workflow. And that's how I saw that some of them had security issues. So I started doing tiny hacks, nothing too hurtful or whatever. Always small stuff, but funny stuff, I think. And I think people agreed because some of them noticed, and they started sharing what I was doing, which was basically just graffitiing on like Rarible or Super Rare or whatever websites. And then I started drifting back to smart contracts, and I saw the potential of it. And this is my current aim. To be honest, I'm trying to. I've said that multiple times in the last months, but I've tried to create art that couldn't exist outside the blockchain, right? Because a lot of criticism right now comes from the mainstream world, is to say that NFTs are just like speculative stuff, etc. And I mean, to an extent, there are plausible arguments in that, but I think they have yet to see how like the possibilities that NFTs and smart contracts in general offer. So that's what I'm trying to do, like create art that couldn't exist, and also maybe that you wouldn't think you would want to see, but then hopefully when you see it, you're like, oh, that's a cool idea. That's my aim, at least.
So what you're saying is kind of reminds me of your quote that I know you by. I think you had this up for a while. I think it might have been a pin tweet. I don't know. It's was up for a while. So it's the token is the canvas. Um, Maybe you can dive a little bit deeper into that. Um,
Sure. So I actually had this in my bio too, and maybe I'll put it back up. Um, we had this conversation at some point on Twitter. I think it was Mario Klingemann, there was Pack
Very
and other
familiar.
people, uh, and we were discussing the fact that like we were discussing storage and whatever, and like how NFTs work, I think, and we ended up on the fact that most people, and like not saying it's a bad thing, but just most people use NFTs or see NFTs as a frame in which to put the artwork, which it is mostly used for, or a frame actually to put a other stuff, right? But in the context of art, it's a frame. The same way as for a painting, you always have a frame outside of it. And we were trying to say that the token could be, or in our case, should be the canvas. Like we should try to use, or we wanted to use the token as a canvas to quote unquote paint on. And so that's what I'm trying to do. And this kind of ties back to what I was saying earlier with creating smart contract native art, right? I'm not sure how it will be called in the future. I really genuinely think it is a different, something different from what exists. But let's see. Yeah, if you don't follow Mario Klingemann, you should. Quasimodo on Twitter. He's, I mean, how to describing, I don't know, he's an OG artist in general. He's been doing like what you could call digital art since, I don't know, I was probably not born. I think it's 1990 at least. He's great. He has been trailblazing a lot of AI art. Like right now, everybody's talking about DALL-E and whatever. He has been doing that shit for years. Like I don't know how many, but he's like, if you have anything to look for in terms of history of AI art, etc., you should follow him. I don't know, he's great. But you probably know him already. I mean, he has a bunch of followers, um, and plus he shares a lot of his how he works, etc. So he's a great inspiration.
What was that like setup he had? It almost looked like he was doing Lost Poets. He had these like cabinets set up, and they were like generating these images. Do you know what that is?
uh no, I
Okay,
mean,
I'll try to find it. I'll try to find it while we're
I
chatting.
mean, you guys should definitely check out all his projects. He has been doing a lot of Hicketnunk also, and trying to do cool stuff with HTML art, like dynamic art. Um,
NFTs
and
that
plus,
change every once in a while.
exactly, like he had one cool artwork on Hicketnunk where there was displayed all of the holders of the NFT, right? And it was at a time where these types of stuff didn't really exist that much. He was one of the first artists on Hicketnunk, actually. So on the previous most used Tezos platform, for people who don't know. Um, and he's an all-around great artist. He has great tips and great, like he's the one who made me aware, and I'm still fighting with this, but aware of the fact that being first, it doesn't mean much. Which obviously in my case, since I'm always trying to innovate, being first, like not in a competitive kind of way, but just in the sense that I don't want to do something that has already been done. Um, it makes a lot of sense for me, but it's also important to not get stuck in that situation and like not create something you would want to create just because somebody did something similar, because you'll always have your own touch, right?
Absolutely, everybody has their own style. I think that's
Exactly.
what makes everything unique. Um, you know, even if there's been a big debate on is AI art actually art. And I think it is to an extent. I think it's a tool that can be used, in the right way. Um, Let me pull it up because I ended up finding what I was talking about here. Uh,
Oh yeah, is this part of the mitosis one? He sold at, was it Christie's or Sotheby's? I can't remember.
there was like
He
some
sold one.
article on here, and
Yeah,
see,
he's.
this really reminded me of Lost Poets, and I was wondering if there was some sort of relation here.
I mean, like not dropping Alpha or whatever, but Mario and Pac have been friends for a long time. Okay, maybe I don't know if they're actually friends, but they've known each other for a long time. And if you look at their tweets, you're gonna see they've been tweeting to each other in like 2011 or something. I don't know. So it's where you see that both are like OG, right? Kind of, especially in the digital art space. So there's definitely been inspiration, I guess, although Pack himself or themselves have been playing with AI for a long time too. I'm not sure in which way it got, but I guess it's like everything in the art scene. It's you're constantly. I mean, I see myself kind of as a you could say as a mixer, right? You're putting a lot of stuff inside of me, and I'm just I'm just mixing everything and coming up with something new, right? But inspiration comes from somewhere. Um, so it doesn't surprise me that there's some kind of overlap or you find a similitude. But I don't know this artwork in particular, so I'm not sure what Mario was looking at in
So,
this one.
just from memory recall, I was reading some article about this. I was like, what is this? And apparently, as you look at it, whatever kind of computer system or whatever is inside that box is just generating these brand new images unique as you're watching it. So I believe
Oh,
it's
okay.
never the same. I don't think it cycles from what I was reading. It's all just generative right there on the spot.
Maybe it even use your face as an input. Is it that? Or that would be interesting.
Um, Good
Okay.
question. So
Like using it as a seed or whatever.
last night, my girlfriend and I we went out to this new bar restaurant downtown Colorado Springs, and I don't know how we started talking about the Dolly app,
Mm-hmm.
and I mess around with it sometimes. I got invited to create on there, and she asked me. She goes, "Hey, you should type in our address and see what it pulls up."
Oh, Jesus
And
Christ.
I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I was like, "I've never thought
Did
about
you?
that." I typed it in, and it was like against their user agreement,
Oh,
so it
you
did
can
not.
cheat it, probably. You can probably cheat it.
I'll have to mess around with it because it was just like this. We cannot use this content. And then
Mm,
she's like, you know what? She's like, I'm gonna type in my name and see what
okay.
comes up. So we typed in her name, and I was thinking like for the split second, like right before I typed it in, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's gonna look just like you. And then I was like, wait a minute, no, there's probably other
Mm.
females out there with your same name, so never mind. Um, so
I mean,
it's
they're using, as far as I know, they're using a lot of images from Flickr. Um, so I don't like, unless she's been on pictures like that with her name like attached to it or whatever. I don't think you would find yourself in a situation where you actually end up with someone looking like you because that's your name. Maybe randomly it could happen. I don't know, and
it,
also that would be like kind of a confidentiality issue, I think,
and
privacy
and
issue.
that's
Sorry.
why I think there's probably some confidential thing about the address too.
Yeah, makes sense. Like actually, you know how you can you can upload an image, right, as an input, and if you upload a picture of someone, like a quote unquote realistic one, there you're getting an error message. Now, of course, you can hack it, like you can just rotate the image and or like flip it or just do some transforms which make it more difficult because they're using AI to recognize that, right? And it makes it more difficult for the AI to recognize it's a realistic person, and then it will do the Dali magic with it. But they do have a lot of like, and probably they improved that too. But it worked last time I checked. But they it's funny how they put a lot of resources into. I mean, funny. It's interesting how they put a lot of resources into avoiding you to use certain prompts. I've never used Midjourney or Stable Diffusion. I mean, Stable Diffusion, you could probably compile it yourself, but I don't know if there are any things you cannot use, any prompts you cannot use. I don't know. I've never tried.
Are you a part of that, Dolly? Have you've messed with
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
When
yeah.
did
As I said,
you when did you apply?
oh, some time ago, some time ago, and actually, I had GPT-3, but funny, like I didn't immediately get access to Dolly. Like you still had to do a separate request, even though it's the same. Like it's OpenAI in both cases. But
I'm
yeah.
curious how they like pick the applicants. I don't think it's an order because there was somebody on Twitter that was like still waiting to be a part of it, and I think they like applied in April and they still haven't like got
Oh,
on. And I think I applied in like June or July or something. I mean,
it
it took
might be randomly.
it took me just like a couple months. I was like, oh cool, I forgot about this.
We see, funnily enough, this might be the type of thing that Mario would know. Because when you've been in the AI scene for such a long time, I guess those are like known stuff because they had the same release structure, I guess, for GPT-2, 3, and whatever. Um, my guess is it's semi-random. Like maybe they have waves, and then inside those waves they allow a certain amount of people. I'm not sure.
Hmm, interesting. So next thing I wanted to bring up was your most recent drop with Arc, the
Mm-hmm.
centralized drop.
Okay.
So I have that pulled up. Let me bring that up here. Boom. So just kind of give us a little quick rundown. What got you inspired to bring this drop to life, and how it was working with Arc.
All right. We've been talking for a long time with Arc about working together. Um, and actually, I've been talking with many people about that, but I'm always like, we need to find some kind of idea, right? Because of course, like I want to collaborate with Dell, with Pac, with Mario, with whatever, right? When you're a fan of someone, you want to collaborate with them, but it's no use, in my opinion, if you don't have like a matching idea and something that would also use both people's skills. Um, and we were discussing actually another idea, maybe a hack I had, and it didn't end up working. But then we had already started working with stuff, and so we figured, you know what, let's still, like, we'll figure out what we exactly do, but let's try to find something now that we're working together, right? And we had this, I mean, Arc had this idea of the whole concept of centralized, actually, which is to give power back to the one-on-one owner. The initial idea was to do the floppies, and you were able to burn the floppies for the videos, what, right?
Mhm.
And with Arc doing the 3D and me doing the visuals, and we would kind of have this collaboration with nothing real special. But then when he came with that idea, at first I was like, I don't know. This sounds like so many things could go wrong. It's not something I can code a smart contract for, or it will be really annoying to do it. Um, and then he was like, but that's a feature. The fact that you're not able to put rules, right? Because for people who don't know, there are open editions. You see on the right here the floppy disks, and on the left you have a one-on-one auction, which is the floppy drive. The idea is that you can burn floppy disks to get the final NFT, which is a video representing a hack I've done in the past. Now, the twist is, that only the drive owner can burn the disks. So only one person or one wallet can do it. And so my first idea was, okay, I have to code a smart contract where you send your floppy disk and then it gets returned to you, like it's as an escrow kind of, and the drive has to do he has to do the burning and then send back it was a hassle, right? And he was like, no, let's not do anything like that. Let's leave it up to the drive owner. Let's re-centralize everything as if it was like a company or whatever, but in a much more funny way, because the drive owner can be a douchebag, right? Or it can be many people. It could be a DAO, or it could be, right? It just needs to be a wallet. And as we stated here, outcomes that could happen would be the drive owner doesn't burn on any floppy, and then there will be no videos minted, or he would burn only his and then try to pump the price, which wouldn't make sense, right, from an investment point of view, because you paid so much for the auction. You're trying to make your money back with pumping the video, kind of the final NFT floor. Like if there's only 10 of them, surely they're worth more. But the current drive owner has decided something else. I think they've decided something, I like it. The idea is basically you have to send 2 floppies, and then they burn one, randomly send you, or they're choosing, I think, they send you the final NFT back, and they keep the other floppy as a payment. So they're able to control the supply of the final NFT as well as the floppies, because they're able to hoard floppies that way, which I think is smart. I think it's fair.
I think it's fair.
Yeah, and it's I don't know. I like it. And this is also what we had hoped with ARC, that they come up with something funny. We didn't influence in any way. Like, they did ask questions, of course, with what was possible and all that, and we answered, but we didn't influence it in any way. They were free to do whatever they wanted. If they wanted to steal the NFTs, they could have, right? They say, send me your floppies, and then they never send them back. They could have. That was part of the game. It didn't go that way, but I'm happy with the experiment. Really, I'm happy of it.
It's I feel like Nahiko, it's been a pretty successful drop. I know you got some pretty good feedback, and I'm in your Discord channel, and it seems like people were interacting with each other, and that's what I like to see. These and not every NFT drop is involved and interactive, but it's just fun seeing the community talk amongst themselves and come up with their own strategies. I've spent a lot of time in POC and Lorem and the F chat, and it's just cool to see people bring ideas to the table, and for you and ARC to allow people to bring creative thoughts and discussions, I think is an art just in itself.
Yeah, this technically, in this case, the token is not the canvas, right? But you could say the blockchain is the canvas, right? Because of the transactions happening and the fact that the drive owner can do this. It's just
you should tweet that the blockchain is the canvas.
That's what I'm and no spoiler, but yeah, actually both of my next artworks, so the very next one, you could say the token is the canvas, and you could say the blockchain is the canvas, but the one that will come after that, it will, I think, be the blockchain as the canvas and not the token. Don't want to spoil too much,
Ooh.
but I think I'm coming at a point where NFTs might be too restrictive, and or at least I didn't want to block myself in the NFT standard kind of, and not being able to do what I wanted to do because of it. But it's still blockchain native, and it couldn't exist outside the blockchain, but it can exist outside the NFT space. You could say a bit like Burn. It has nothing to do with ERC20. It's not a standard at all. It's basically smart contract art. And actually, some of my artworks, they could have been like that in the past, if you took the image out. You could have had just the smart contract, for example, XOR, where you had a black side and a white side, or at least two hemispheres, and you were able to change the color of either one of them. You could technically do that with only a smart contract, which like without having to go through all the ERC 721 stuff.
Which one was this?
XR. It's
okay.
It's basically a kind of an artistic view of the yin yang.
You're talking about the artist XOR?
No. It's there are some Chinese characters too, because it's light XOR dark. If you go to my pinned tweets, okay, you should see it. Basically, it's an image that is returned by the smart contract.
Right here?
Click on that tweet. It's a thread. Or you're going to see it in the video, but it's the neural network. This one. Okay. I, as the creator of the NFT, control the right side, and the owner of the NFT controls the left side. So if you zoom out of the video and you go click on the tweet itself. Sorry, I need to fix my Twitter profile. And then you scroll, you're going to see all of my projects. And this one, XR, January, is it January 30? Yeah, I mean, the second one. If you click on the thread, the tweet, on-chain programmable, whatever. And then on the tweet again, cool. August, it was in August 2021. And so the idea is that I wanted to create an on-chain neural network. And so I mean, it is on the smart contract. There's a neural network, and you can ask it, is the current image a yin yang? So right now, if you scroll a little bit, you're going to have the OpenSea link. And if you click on that, you're going to have the visual. So currently, the visual is not a yin yang. It's white and white, right? Yin yang has to be black and white. It's about balance. And so the owner could change one side and make it black, thus recreating balance. And I could switch the other side and do the same. And this is all controlled by the smart contract. So if you go to the smart contract, you can actually see the values of the variables exactly. And you're gonna see also, if you go to, you click on contract here, and then you go to read oh, perfect. You have right reflexes. Now you could see, how did I call it? Is yin yang here in the middle. And you see false. And this value, if you look at the code, is returned by a neural network. It gets fed the two values, which is true and true, because it's white and white, right? Both sides are white. And it returns false. It's the most simplistic multi-layer neural network. That's how I was able to put it inside the smart contract, because it's really small.
Now, if I copy this, I'm not going to get hacked, am I?
What does this copy? Is it copy? Oh, it copies the link to the page. No worries. Just copies the link to Etherscan. You never know with some people asking. I have had Twitter DMs of people, and they start the conversation with, "Are you a hacker?" And I know that when it starts that way, it's gonna be a pain. Usually it's like, "Can you hack someone for me?" Yeah, no.
that seems a little malicious, somebody reaching out to you for you to hack somebody.
I mean, some of them have you could say plausible cause, like they say in lawyering stuff. Um, but I just don't do that stuff, right? And if you know me, usually you know that I'm not into anything malicious. Even the hacks for the platforms I've done, like Rarible, Super Rare, whatever, they weren't critical. Um, and I mean, they weren't wallet critical, which is very important. I wouldn't have done them anyway if that was the case. And I reported other issues I have found in smart contracts and stuff, and they weren't public. Like this is quite important for me. And I mean, people would track me down if I was causing too much mayhem, which makes sense.
Is it proper for me to call you a designer hacker?
I guess you could, although I mean, I've been like I've done web design, etc. Like not professionally, but I've used Photoshop, Figma, but I've also used Blender. I've used traditional sculpting tools. Um, I try to I try to do a lot of things. What I like about hacking is that, I mean, of course, everybody's going to think about computer hacking, but when I say it, it's more in a mindset kind of way. The same way parkour is hacking. Instead of using the streets to go from point A to point B, what if you go by going onto people's roofs, right? Without breaking anything, right? Of course. Uh, but it's not because it's not the conventional way that it isn't interesting. So that's what I'm trying to do with hacking. I think it's close to innovating, actually, because can you really innovate if you don't hack, right? That could be a great question.
Like the famous tweet, "Design is hack."
Design is hack. Yeah, and I mean the way I think the way Pac meant it was it's hacking your brain, right? Why do you, when you have the buy button, for example, on Amazon, why does it have green color? Is it bigger than the other button? And you know what, you know, all that, right? It's trying to hack the brain, kind of. Or at least that's how I saw it. But the beautiful thing about Pac's tweet, and that's how they're really strong, is you can interpret it in many ways.
There you go.
Their marketing and PR is through the roof.
So this is a interview with Hans Ulrich,
Mhm.
Hack the Planet, and Hans asked Pac, "What do you mean when you say design is hack?" Pac says, "A design is the simplest, most elegant solution to a problem. An undefinable problem lives in a system. Design therefore corrects a flaw in an existing system. Imagining it is a bridge designed to prevent traffic congestion. I find this way of thinking to be very hacker-like, which is to say that designers hack systems by offering attractive shortcuts and attempting to hide the flaws as much as possible. Design is
Exactly.
therefore a hack."
Exactly. Instead of using the roofs to go from point A to point B, you draw a bridge, right? And maybe you cannot really innovate if you, or at least you cannot invent if you don't hack, because hacking is doing something new. I don't know. I don't want to get too deep here, but I really like that mindset, and I try to go away from that exploiting part. Like, instead of exploiting issues on platforms and whatever, just for the sake of it, and more exploiting them to create something. Like, there has to be a meaning and something interesting.
So is this what your screen looks like when you're hacking?
No, no. Actually, if you look at the collab with Arc, on the screens, like of the final NFTs,
Pulling it up.
you would have, it's not what my screen looks like, but it's the algorithm I use, kind of, in the process sense of algorithm. It's not the actual functions I used, of course, because they're just uh, dummy functions I put inside the video, but it's the way it worked. So if you go back to the Nifty Gateway side and you go
Yep.
to the
Pulling that up. Boom.
exactly, and so Art put them on different types of screens. So this is here my Mac console. It's actually it's my actual console, and I just created a funny script that's not what my screen looks like, but it could be, right? If I could have coded in a way that it looked like that, that's the idea. So that was also the idea for this drop, to give you a glimpse on how it is to really hack stuff, right?
I love it, man. Actually, I was telling one of my coworkers. I work at a car dealership. I'm a salesman.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I was telling him, "Hey, I got this designer hacker coming on the show tomorrow, and he's pretty entry level with NFTs, but he did know like proof of work, proof of stake." I was like, "You got to check this guy out," and he was like, "Oh, sweet." He's like, "I've done a little bit of hacking." He's like, "You'd be surprised how easy it is," and I was like, "Hmm." I was like, "What do you use
Yeah.
to like hack?" And he's like, "You could use Notepad. You could use." I can't remember what else he was telling me, but I was like, I've used this program before to actually write a mining program. I mined Monero for a little bit, but
Mhm.
it ended up not being worth what electricity that I was using to mine it, so I just kind of scrapped the whole thing.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's just code, right? And code are just letters assembled together. So anything where you can write stuff can be used for hacking. And yeah, I mean, the resources are amazing nowadays, especially because of all the white hat hacking, the bug bounty stuff. And you should really look into it if that type of stuff interests you.
Okay, I was
The
using
one
Notepad plus plus to write the Monero mining
Yeah,
program.
that's used by a lot of C coders, I think.
Huh.
Uh, I I mean, as someone who uses a lot of JavaScript, I love the browser and VS Code. Um, I used many tools, and for languages, I like Python. Um,
I've heard of that.
yeah, did your screen freeze or is it just me?
Yeah, it did.
Oh,
But we're still live.
oh,
Here.
great. Oh, it didn't. It's just my cam.
Huh.
Works fine on my side though.
Yeah, it looks okay. Let's see. Hmm. Well, that's all right. We're kind of at the end of our stream here. So, Nahiko, last question I had, and you don't really have to get into detail about this, but maybe you can just kind of spill the beans here. What kind of computer setup do you run? Is it something crazy? Did you buy it pre-built? Did somebody build it for you?
No, nothing like that. I mean, I used to have, like, I've had many workstations. I still do, but my main tool right now is the Mac M1, um, MacBook Air.
Oh,
I think it's really versatile. I like the way, like, Mac in the kernel side is a lot to Linux than, of course, and that's really useful as a hacker and as a dev in general. Um, and yeah, I think I mean the M1 was a really great product coming out. I haven't looked at the M2, M1 Ultra, all that stuff, and I do like as a dev or even as hacking stuff, you need workstations with all like with Windows and all that. So I do have other computers, but this is my main one. It's just so versatile.
this is a little
It's
laptop.
yeah, it's not like even on Blender, it's able to check out renders pretty quickly considering its size, and it doesn't even have a fan. It's I don't know, it's
Hmm.
amazing. I mean, it's obvious like they integrated a lot of stuff inside. Because everything's proprietary, they're able to optimize it. So you're obviously ditching the advantage of being able to swap out memory and or I don't know, swap out your graphics card for those improvements. I think it's a great all-in-one computer. Kind of
So I was reading what Apple is going to come out with next. They're I guess around this time or October or something, they always have like a reveal, and I think they're going to put the same M1 chip in the tablets now, or the what do they call them? Not tablets.
The iPads.
iPad, yeah. Yeah, I believe they're putting the M1
if they
in
haven't
the iPad.
already. I mean, I'm waiting for them to maybe upgrade the Pro. Like, I'm not gonna buy it, but they should, because they haven't yet.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see how it all goes. If other manufacturers will maybe go the same route and try to go with proprietary technology in order to improve. Maybe that's the only way to go around a specific bottleneck that we will hit. I'm not sure. Let's see. I mean, for now, a lot of built, like if you build your own computer, you're gonna be miles ahead of the performance of an M1 or whatever, right? Still, it's not the top computer, of course, but I think for the average Joe, it's a perfect product for the market they were targeting, basically, and that's what you could expect from Apple, right? They know what they're trying to sell and who they're trying to sell it to. So yeah, I think and comparatively to other, they release new computers every year or whatever, every phone. This was like a big improvement. So this was a generation where there was an actual good reason to upgrade or buy into, instead of just grabbing the latest one because it's the latest one, right?
So I think we're gonna end it here, Nahiko.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for coming on the show, man. I appreciate all your time. If people want to find you, where can they find you?
I mean, to be honest, on Twitter, if you want to know more about my stuff, just read that first thread that's pinned on my profile. There's every single major artwork I've released with a thread for each of them explaining what they're about. And there's a small video just teasing all of it on the top that you can see here. And if you have questions, or even if you just want to discuss stuff, you can DM me. My DMs are open, and yeah, that's it. Otherwise, you can come on Discord, of course. We have still a tight, small community, so we're able to see every message. It's not like one of those big Discords where you have too many messages and you're not able to catch up with today's messages or whatever. So feel free to drop by.
Awesome, man. Well, again, thank you so much for coming on the show, Nahiko. Hope you have a great day and enjoy.
You too. See ya.
Yeah.